return to work today, and finishing health care reform is the top of the Democrats' agenda. Now, Nancy Pelosi and many House Democrats are furious over the proposed plan to tax generous health care plans, a tax President Obama apparently now supports. Joining me for more on that is New York Congressman Anthony Weiner. Congressman, the president wants you folks over in the House to suck it up. He wants you to go ahead and go along with this, and this is what he basically has said to union leaders yesterday. How does that sit with you?
Well, you referred to the CBS poll that came out a little earlier today. It's interesting, across the political spectrum, people aren't saying we're not being tough enough on the healthcare industry, we're doing too much on reducing costs. They say we're not doing enough. Frankly, I think that we have got to realize what got us all elected, including President Obama. It was the commitment to hold down costs, to provide coverage for people. The more we step away from that on the altar of compromise, the further we get away from a winning formula, both politically and substantively.
Well, it seems like all the negotiations are surrounding what the Senate has put on the table, and the only way that this is going to pass and get 60 votes if they take just about the whole thing and undermine the work that's been done in the House. There will be no public option, and now there's going to be new taxes. And also the big thing in the Senate is that the state-run co-ops, if I may, are not going to be there's not going to be oversight from the federal government. No one big co-op. It's going to be run on the exchanges on a state level. How does that set with you?
Well, I want to tell you something. I have a website called countdowntohealthcare.com, and we've been having this open debate about this very question. Over 100,000 people have weighed in. And the basic question is this: is the perfect the enemy of the good? Well, everyone agrees we don't want to let that happen. But we also agree that we need certain basic things to be included for us to be able to claim victory here. If we go too far in the direction of watering down or eliminating the public option, too far in the way of taxing the middle class, and too far in the way of having a Nelson plan just for Nebraska and not have extend to the rest of the states, a lot of people think, you know what, it's not even worth the paper it's written on. That's the debate we're having right now, and I think more and more people are weighing in on the side of push for more, not settle for less.
The middle class taxes when it comes to the benefits, that could be a deal breaker. Couldn't it be a deal breaker? Is it a deal breaker? Where's the line in the sand on this? You can't go back. I don't know how the president thinks he can go back to the middle class and say, hey, I got to get more money out of you to do this health care thing after what's happened on Wall Street, the tax breaks the top 2%'s gotten over the last 8 years.
Yeah, but it also is the place where I think we can do a deal. So long as the tax is not on a true middle-class health insurance plan, like it would be if you live in a state like New York, then maybe there's some deal that can be worked out. Right now, what the Senate has proposed is essentially a thing that would tax health care plans in about 75% of households that happen to have negotiated for and gotten good health care plans. The irony is that people are being punished because they were able to successfully get health insurance from their employer. That's the opposite message that we want to be sending when we're trying to encourage more people to be signing up.
Congressman Weiner, good to have you on tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
You bet. Yeah, no, I'm not a senator, and I'm not going to run to be one either. Although I am kind of wondering, how does Sarah Palin get to do this thing over on Fox? Well, that's another story. Katrina Vanden Heuvel joining us tonight, editor of TheNation. Katrina, I want to talk about the political effect of this. If the president holds on this and goes with taxing the benefits on the middle class, on the health care plans, isn't this, in a sense, some form of political suicide? What do you think?
There have been too many compromises in one direction, Ed, and I'm no big-brain political strategist, but I don't get how you win elections, how you come forward, and you're shafting those who work their heart and butt out for you, labor, progressives, young people. The mobilization behind Barack Obama was the countervailing force to the moneyed interests who are mugging his agenda and his plans. So I think there's some real rethinking to go on and needs to go on in this White House moving forward. It's not just about the base. It's about a part of this country which is on your side. You got to mobilize them, and there's been too much inside the Beltway dealing. And even though President Obama comes forward with a big agenda sometimes, the execution is so cautious and timid. Senator Bernie Sanders has a piece in our next issue, Ed. I mean, what is this with all this bipartisanship at a time of unprecedented rhetorical and political savagery on the part of a Republican obstructionist party? So there are two things. Respect your base and fight with passion, and don't let the right wing channel the populism and passion in this country at this moment of pain and possibility.
David Axelrod is saying that in 2010 he wants to make this race about the Republicans. I don't know how you do that. If you're going to turn around and tax the middle class, you're making the election, the midterms, about you.
Well, there are two. Let me just, it is a pretty simple calculus in my view, Ed. I mean, are you going to pay for health care by taxing the middle class and their hard-won benefits, or the rich? It seems to me that's pretty simple, clean, but I guess it isn't at this point in time. But the White House has a chance to pivot, to get the best health care plan, to say that we have to fight to make it better, significantly better in the near future, and pivot on a great jobs program for millions of Americans, and for labor, not to let the Employee Free Choice Act languish as it has. Put some muscle behind it so that working people in this country can organize and get their fair share in a country, sadly, in which this White House at the moment is perceived as being on the side of the banks, not the working people.
Well, I want to ask you that quickly here before we go, Katrina. The Tim Geithner story, AIG, all of this. I mean, it stinks. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Do you think that this could be a story in 2010 that could really dog the White House?
Yeah, and I think that in addition to some real structural reforms, which Barack Obama has spoken of, but move on it, he needs to say goodbye to a couple people in that White House, beginning with Timothy Geithner and Larry Summers. They look like they're on the side of the banks, not the people, and you know what? Their actions show, as stories come out like this, that they probably were, are, and will be. So we need some change.
All right. Katrina, Vanden, Heuvel of TheNation, always a pleasure. Thanks so much.